Hello, I'm here to talk to you about the benchmark review so that we can do pretty well on Monday's test. So when this is done, I'm going to put this on YouTube and hopefully you guys will be able to see it and understand it. Right here on numbers 1 through 5, we've got a situation where we're trying to find the x-intercepts. So the x-intercept, of course, is where the graph touches the x-axis. Okay, remember this is the x-axis. So the graph here is going to be touching at this point right here and at this point. So that means we need to write down the coordinates for those 2 points. So I'm just going to make this a little smaller so I can write down that the x-intercepts are 1, 0, and 7, 0. Okay. So for number 2, we have the domain. The domain, of course, is all the x values on the graph. Okay, this means we're trying to find the leftmost and rightmost points. If you notice, as I travel along the graph towards the left here, there is an arrow. That means it's going to just keep going to the left. And when I do that, I'm going to do negative infinity. And as you notice on the right, this arrow here indicates it's going to keep going right. So this right here is infinity. Now another way to write it would be to say all real numbers, since it goes forever to the left and forever to the right. Or you could use the fancy R to say it's all real numbers. Shift colors here so I don't get too confusing. So we already decided that this one right here is negative infinity to infinity, all real numbers. Define the range here. That's going to be all the y values. And because it's y values, we'll be using y values in our answer. That means we'll be doing the y-axis. Okay. So first I notice, remember this is from the bottom to the top. As you notice here, there's arrows pointing down. So that means that there is no real bottom. So I'm going to say negative infinity. But there is a top. Notice right here there is a top, and it goes through the value 7 here between 6 and 8. Okay, so that means I'm going to say it stops at 7. So from negative infinity to 7. And we can also say that y values are going to be less than or equal to 7. That's another way of saying it. So today, now also, we're going to talk about intervals of increasing. So first I'm going to erase some of the marks I've made on this graph so that we can talk about intervals of increasing. Intervals of increasing are going to be where the graph is going upward, okay? So number 4, to say increasing, it's where y values are going up, and then you have to, the answer is going to be written in x values. So it's what x values do this. Okay, so since x values are from left to right, we're going to imagine ourselves traveling along the graph from the left, and you notice as we go, we are going up. And that's what increasing means. Okay. Decreasing would be going down. And you notice here that at this point it starts going down as we go. So the increasing goes from negative infinity. And remember, we're talking about x values. So what is the x value at this point right here? It is 4. Another way to say this is that x is less than or equal to 4. All right, now we're going to talk about negatives. Okay, and so I'm going to erase this right here and talk about intervals of negative. So we're going to have right here at the x line, this area here is positive, this area here is negative for the y values. So we're looking at the x values that make y negative. All right, so the x values that make y negative are going to be in this negative zone. So the parts of the graph, if I cut it with some scissors along this line right here, that's probably not the right way to do scissors. There you go. So I take some scissors and I cut along this line right here. That means it's going to break the graph right here. And the sections that happen to be in the negative zone are these two arrows. So my question is, how do I write that as an interval notation? And so this one right here is going to be from negative infinity to this x value right here, which is 1. And this area right there is going to be from this x value, which is 7, to infinity. The reason it's infinity is because we are going to the right. Okay, because we are focusing on the x values. So that means that the answer to this one is going to be those two intervals, negative infinity to 1 and 7 to infinity. Okay, moving on.